guess what? I didn't see Rotus in Abidjan, and we're in Abidjan together, but I'm seeing him here back in Nigeria. Makes you work. I did see you all
same city.
We're in the same city, we're in the same hall. But we didn't see because we were
moderating. You had interviews.
You had interviews. We're just apart.
Our boss keeps us busy.
And guess you were, and we're both sending reports
to this station.
And we're both seeing our outputs.
That's why they all watch our
back with any implications.
Sorry.
In absence of Dr. Matia,
and they make
this implications ministry.
Sorry, so sorry.
Good morning, Bimba. Good morning.
They call it Jibure, just collect it.
Is it your good morning we're going to eat?
And Ivory Coast is the largest cocoa producer in Africa. So sure, at least chocolates. At least some Ivory Coast.
And they have good dark chocolates.
Yeah, they do.
Sorry,
they have good dark chocolate.
Yeah.
You didn't hear them talking about the good popcorn that they had at the cinema. It's okay.
Right. I got to the airport at 1:00 in the morning. So sorry.
We should do a tourism report for Africa.
Yes,
we should. Good morning. Good morning to all our viewers. We start as always with oil. It's still low. Nothing much to report there. You heard Donald Trump saying that Iran likely sign a deal, but now Iran is now saying there's some contradictory comments coming from the US. Either way, oil 64 for Brent, West Texas 61. You see Nigeria's benchmark at 75. Asian stocks mixed. Getting a lot of data from Japan that was filtering through. Some good, the other a bit on the bad side. You can see China and Hong Kong down, Japan up, Korea up, India down because of some comments Donald Trump made about supply chains there, which will play. Australia up on the up and up. So coming about that data from Japan, GDP growth in the first quarter, this is preliminary data, so this will be updated later on from the Cabinet Office. Contracting, now this is quarter on quarter, comparing the fourth quarter to the first quarter of this year, 0.2%. Estimates were a contraction of 0.1. When you annualize it for the full year, it came in at a contraction of 0.7, estimates of 0.2. However, year on year, when you compare first quarter of 2021 to first quarter of, I said 2021, where am I? 2025 to 2024, it was 1.7% growth. Now, there was a lot of weakness in exports. Japan is a big export-oriented country. I think the fear of tariffs kind of pushed back on that, although demand, private sector, public household demand, which accounts for almost half of the economy, was still on the healthy side, although there's still inflationary pressures here and there. Now, another interesting thing with the tariffs is that your net foreign portfolio investment inflows into Japan in the month of April at a record of $56 billion. This is about 8.2 trillion yen. You can imagine how, Japan is the third or fourth largest stock market in the world. It's really look at all that money that they can absorb in just 1 month. And this is because of the volatility, the investors leaving the US. The dollar again is still falling. The yen has appreciated to the tune of about 9% compared to the dollar. Japan is seen as a safe haven. So bonds and stocks got a lot of this money coming in. Yujiro Goto is the head of FX strategy at Nomura. And just to bolster the point, this is what he said. He said Trump tariff shocks likely changed global investors' outlook on the US economy and asset performance, which likely led to diversification away from the US to other markets, including Japan. And you've seen the euro. I was talking about how Adefemi asked me yesterday about, even Ivory Coast, the CFA franc, which a lot of these Francophone nations use.
It's strong.
It's appreciated as well,
About 2 years ago, it was 670.
Today
it's 570.
There you go. Appreciated. Also in the news, now Trump is in the UAE. I know you've covered that. You can see this headline from Bloomberg. Trump's rush to cut AI deals in Gulf opens rift with China hawks. They're basically worried that this flurry of artificial intelligence deals that, particularly chips that the Saudis want, the folks at the UAE want, and also in the rest of the Middle East where he's been to, they are worried that some of these might leak into China. For instance, there's this massive, for the UAE, I think the UAE wants to spend 1.4 trillion over 10 years. There's this big 5, 6, 7 kilometer AI campus they want to build that's going to require a lot of chips from the NVIDIAs of this world. They are just worried that it might fall into the wrong hands because the bilateral accords between the US and the Middle East do not include this new deals on AI chips. And again, others are saying, well, they bribed him with a plane of 400 million so they could get the chips, right? And it just shows you how important the AI race is. Okay, speaking of which, while I mentioned that he was talking right before we came on air yesterday, He called out, he's been calling out Tim Cook now. He's called him out like twice while he's been on this trip, saying that he's heard that Apple wants to move supply chains over to India to avoid these tariffs, and he was saying that he doesn't want them to do that, which is maybe why the Indian stock market is a bit on the lows today. Here's what he said yesterday while in his prior trip in Saudi.
And we have Apple, as you know, it's coming in. And I had a little problem with Tim Cook yesterday. I said to him, Tim, you're my friend. I treated you very good. You're coming in with $500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India. You can build in India if you want to take care of India, because India is one of the highest tariff nations in the world. It's very hard to sell into India. And they've offered us a deal where basically they're willing to literally charge us no tariff. So we go from the highest tariff, you couldn't do business in India. We're not even a top 30 in India because the tariff is so high, to a point where they have actually told us, I assume you too, Scott, you were working on that also, that there will be no tariff, right? Would you say that's a difference? They're the highest, and now they're saying no tariff. But I said to Tim, Tim, look, we've treated you really good. We put up with all the plants that you built in China for years. Now you got to build us. We're not interested in you building in India. India can take care of themselves. They're doing very well. We want you to build here, and they're going to be upping their production in the United States. Apple. So Apple's already in for $500 billion, but they're going to be upping their production. So it'll be great.
I was saying Foxconn. Look, this gave us a reason to bring up this viral video from 2017. Tim Cook in Guangzhou, China, at the Fortune Global Forum. Everybody has seen this video. Just to remind everyone, Cook was saying that it's not about cheap labor in China as to why Apple is there. It is because of skills. Take a listen.
There's a confusion about China that, and let me at least give you my opinion. The popular conception is that companies come to China because of low labor cost. I'm not sure what part of China they go to, but the truth is China stopped being the low labor cost country many years ago. And that is not the reason to come to China from a supply point of view. The reason is because of the skill and the quantity of skill in one location and the type of skill it is. Like the products we do require really advanced tooling. And the precision that you have to have in tooling and working with the materials that we do are state of the art. And the tooling skill is very deep here. You know, in the US, you could have a meeting of tooling engineers and I'm not sure we could fill the room. In China, you could fill multiple football fields. It's that vocational expertise is very deep, very, very deep here. And I give the education system a lot of credit for continuing to push on that, even when others were de-emphasizing vocational. Now I think many countries in the world have woke up and said, you know, this is a key thing, and we've got to correct that. But China called that right from the beginning.
All right, just to round off with Nigerian stories, we also saw the inflation figures deceleration for April compared to March. Just to remind everyone, just because you see inflation decelerating does not mean prices are falling. Inflation simply just measures the pace at which prices rise. So prices are still rising. So inflation, so you can see that 23.7 for headline. Prior was 24.3, food at 21.26 was 21.79, core. So just a reminder, inflation prices are rising, deflation prices are falling, disinflation, the pace at which the prices are rising compared to the prior period are slowing. That's what we're seeing there, but it's at least it's good news for Nigeria. And then if you look at today's This Day newspaper, just a couple headlines I encourage everyone to read. Mr. Rabiu, of course, of BOA and Dangote, is saying that they will stabilize cement prices for federal government products. And then circle there, Tinubu pushing for local production of building materials. Power is essential to all this. One of the biggest inputs for costs for cement companies is energy. The same thing for housing. 80% of the material used for building homes in Nigeria comes from overseas. And then there's also the logistics of moving them across the country. Until we stabilize and get more affordable power, I'm not sure when you're going to see stable cement prices in Nigeria, you know?
People that make a lot of very good building material, like cables in this country. In fact, when it comes to cables, electrical wiring, Nigeria is number one as far as I'm concerned. China can't even beat us in that market. The days of Nigeria wire, cable, even Coleman and I'm not Coleman, please come and put your advert here. But we are number one. I mean, that's so. But other things like tiles, there's somewhere around on the way to Ibadan that they make tiles. I think it's CDK or something. They make tiles, make bathtubs and things like that. All we can just do is to improve on things like that. And scale it, big time. As regards Trump on the international scene, I mean, it speaks volume. These are the things a leader should call business leaders to a corner and say, okay, in terms of, national growth and development, bring it back home and everything. But the truth is also the fact that, like you said rightly in that video, America can't compete on skills. They have to retool.
Yeah.
By some assumption, America would need about 20 years of retooling in terms of skill to be able to catch up with where China is today. Because go and check the PISA ratings, the numeracy test among school children.
The Chinese.
Chinese, Macau and the likes are the ones leading. So that's it. And most of those promises, like I want to say, and cheap promises and everything. Hope you also know that there are ethical issues that they've not been able to do the fine lines on. Because not just by signing cheaply, there are also ethical issues you also need to look at strongly. And that's why you were saying rightly. That's why Trump will always lose in court. Over 300 cases in court now. Over 200 decisions have been rescinded. So he should be careful. And he should know that most of all of these announcements are audio.
Very audio.
Saudi Arabia's GDP is over just $1 trillion. And they're promising you over $1 trillion worth of deals. You know it's audio. It's just like when we were both in Saudi when Masar Shasson came to promise the audio.
And oil prices are falling.
And oil prices are falling.
Yeah.
Saudi that is looking for money to do their NEOM, asking for investors every day. Didn't they sell NEOM investment to everybody when we were in Saudi? So, most of these things are audio, but they will give Trump, he will shout, hey, I've collected a deal. We will see it when they invest in the American economy. So,
All right. Very quickly. Well, I mean, listen, I want to chime in on opposition to some of these deals that we've seen because some of the senators have already registered their registration of disapproval. Bernie Sanders is one of them, and a number of other Democrat senators are saying that these deals are in essence corrupt because especially the sale of the arms, because they're saying that this sale, one of the Emirati firms is confirmed to have said to want to transact in MGX, which is a stable coin, which is backed by something that is related to the Trump family. Already on the floor, on the parliament floor, you are seeing opposition to these mega deals. So it's very complicated where it comes to Donald Trump, you know? It's very, very complicated because the honest truth is, yesterday I said he muddies the waters, and that's where I stand with him, because one moment he does something, you're like, this guy is great. Then the next moment you're just like, oh, forehand. So it's tough. It's tough for Trump supporters. So it's great to be neutral. She says.
Now, it's so hard for you to defend.
I said it's great to be
Did you see the chocolate that Rotus got her from DC?
Trump.
Did you see how it was different from everyone else's?
She was gleeful when she was eating the Trump chocolate. But now, it's so hard to defend you. Even we told you that time you buy that. This man you are supporting, we fall your hand.
I should also shout out the second chocolate is for Muiz in our sales team.
Trump supporter.
So
they are falling in hard too. Trump. I've looked for everything to love Trump. I want to really love.
You've tried.
Because see, the media painted him as a lovable figure in the 90s, and that was what we lapped up. So when we started seeing all of this, it was shocking for me.
Sorry. We're out that we can't even. I can't give a comment. But thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you all. See you Monday.